By the end of this module on selling pharmaceuticals, you will understand the unique aspects of selling drugs. You will be aware of what benefits are of interest to the various different stakeholders within the process. You will appreciate the concept of direct-to-consumer promotion and the implications of that, and also have some insight into public relations or PR and advocacy, which is being used increasingly within the pharmaceutical industry. Because selling pharmaceuticals is somewhat different to selling most products, whereby we sell the product to the person who wants to use it. With selling pharmaceuticals, we're often selling a promise to an intermediary, such as a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist, or even a wholesaler, and therefore we're selling to one person, but very often the drug is being paid for by another. We're also very limited in what we can say. Our messaging is much more restricted than with other products. So what does that look like? Well, this graphic indicates the process whereby we deliver the message to the clinician very often. The clinician promises ideally to use the product. The clinician then prescribes the product at the appropriate time when he or she meets the patient. The patient takes the prescription off to the pharmacy. The pharmacist dispenses the prescription and the drug, and someone pays for the product. We are, as I said, unable to sell directly to the consumer, to the patient, and we are not allowed to promote to consumers anywhere in the world except in New Zealand and in the United States. In these countries, we can utilize the concept of direct-to-consumer promotion, DTC, and in those markets this is a very major route to access and influence consumers. So we sell to one person, which is paid for by another, and the payers, importantly, include the insurance companies, they include employers in some countries, they include governments, and sometimes the patient themselves, and increasingly patients are requested to co-pay for their medication, so the payment is contributing towards the subsidised healthcare costs. Typical sales targets, therefore, in terms of who we talk to as an industry include the clinicians, the doctors, the pharmacists, the nurses, and of course we need to talk to the payers. But the messaging is restricted, and for example in some countries, for example in Denmark, we can't make direct comparisons between our product and another. In some other countries we can't use data on file, that is data which has not been written up following analysis. In other countries still, we can't use data on file after, say, 12 months of its production. And we certainly can't promote a drug anywhere in the world without a product license. So what is the industry actually selling? Well, the industry sells health benefits. And those health benefits need to be received differently by the different stakeholders. So the healthcare professional, the doctors, the nurses, they need to hear benefits around confidence and benefits which will enhance their reputation, their status with their patients. And they need to hear benefits around efficacy, safety, and the value of the product. The payer needs to hear slightly different benefits. They need to hear value for money arguments. They need to hear that the approval of the product is politically credible. And they need to hear tangibly pharmacoeconomic arguments and value for money demonstrations. The patients need to hear around their health and their security, and the patients may need also to be educated. So what is pharmacoeconomics? Well, this is a scientific discipline which compares the value of one drug to another or one intervention to another. And pharmacoeconomics comprises 4 different kinds of analysis. So we have, for example, we have cost minimization, which effectively means looking for and buying the cheapest product. We have cost benefit, which looks at what is actually delivered in terms of quality, safety, efficacy for the cost of the product. We have cost effectiveness, which is similar to cost benefit, but this is a more qualitative than quantitative output. And finally, there is a concept of cost utility, which goes one step further than cost effectiveness, and this is where we look at interventions whereby full resolution, full quality of life is unable to be achieved, but we're looking for improvements in quality of life. And the whole concept of quality of life improvement is used within those latter 2 forms of pharmacoeconomic analysis. So cost effectiveness and cost utility often referred to QALYs. And a QALY is a quality adjusted life year, which is a way of indexing the improvement achieved through the intervention of a therapy, be that a drug or another intervention. So for example, a QALY of 2 years at 50% is similar to, for example, a QALY of 1 year at 100%. That's the idea.